Hi TJ, this is Sandra Zimmer from the Self-Expression Center in Houston, Texas. You made a video about, so what if you don't like the sound of your voice? And you made 3 important points. Number 1, you said your voice is probably not that bad and you kind of have to get over it. Well, that may be true. In many cases, people have a good enough voice. It may also be true that when people are professional speakers or need to show up with a strong leadership presence, that they might want to work on improving or enhancing the tone of their voice. Your second point was that it's much more important to have something valuable to say. And oh my, I so totally agree with that. There are so many people who don't have a great voice, but who have powerful messages. And you mentioned Barbara Walters as an example. There's an example of someone who doesn't have a great voice at all, and yet she has made such an enormous impact on the world. So it's really important that people work on their message, that they know what their passion and their purpose is, and that they are committed to talking about that. Your third point was kind of that there's not really much you can do about your voice, and that's where I want to talk about this. There actually is a little bit of a magic bullet for developing the sound of your voice. You can actually enhance the resonance and the tonal quality of your voice. I was fortunate enough to be trained by this country's top voice for the actor teacher, who was Arthur Lessac, L-E-S-S-A-C. Arthur trained professional actors and university-trained actors for over 70 years in the United States until he died last year at 100 years old. The Lessac method is a way of learning to develop the resonant tone of your voice, and it's actually not that hard. It is a little bit like a magic bullet. The secret to developing your voice is learning to feel the sound vibrations of your voice and to place them on the hard palate, the bony roof of the mouth, where the sound vibrations can resonate off of the bones and then into the whole mask of the face. When you learn how to feel the sound vibrations, place them properly on the hard palate, allow them to resonate into the mask, you get a voice that is much more rich and resonant and beautiful, and also that projects out to others. So some people have little kind of thin voices like this, and it's because they're not putting the sound vibrations on their hard palate. They're letting the vibrations just kind of swirl around in the top of their head, and so they have a weak, thin tone. And then some people have a kind of a nasal quality to their voice, and that's only because they're putting the sound vibrations primarily into the nose of their face, and so the tone is staying primarily nasal, and typically that's not very attractive. And then some people put the vibrations of their voice back down into the back of their throat so that the vibrations are hitting soft tissue, and vibrations don't bounce off of soft tissue very well, so they get a kind of a gravelly, soft tone, and they can't really project at all. But once you learn how to place the vibrations of your voice on the hard palate and resonate them into the front of the face, then voila, you have a tone, a vocal tone and quality that is much more rich and resonant and beautiful and projected. And anyone can learn to do this. This is not hard. It is not hard. It takes a little bit of time. It probably needs a teacher who can teach you to feel the vibrations and then resonate them properly and project them. There are several Lessac teachers in the United States. Most of them teach in university theater departments, but you can find a list of them at LessacInstitute.com. And of course, I invite your listeners, your viewers, to check out my website at self-expression.com. I work to help people develop the sound and the diction of their voice. Thanks so much for sharing this video. I think what you have to say is so important, and I'm so pleased to be able to add a little bit to this video. Thanks so much, TJ.